Welcome to Session 2, Governance and Strategic Planning. What is board governance? Every nonprofit organization is governed by a volunteer board of directors who are the legal guardians of the organization. They are granted the authority to make decisions on behalf of the organization and must be accountable for organization performance. Boards have a responsibility to the mission of the organization. Governance is different than management. Governance determines the what and creates the vision, while management determines the how. It's essential to have strong board governance to have regular meeting attendance and term limits. Meeting attendance ensures that board members are up to speed on essential operations, and term limits ensure that there is regular turnover and that the board avoids stagnation and provides respectful and efficient method for removing unproductive members. For effective board governance, it's recommended to have strategic board recruitment. The board must be strategic about member recruitment and define an ideal compensation based on the needs and priorities of the organization. The board must focus on strategic planning and approving and supporting the organizational strategy. They have to have an active role in budget approval, chief executive job descriptions, and the evaluation and audit. One of the most essential relationships to good board governance is the relationship between the board chair and chief executive. Government and management complement and support each other and together focus on the mission through different perspectives and actions. There are 5 steps to a strong CEO board chair relationship from Joan Gary, author of Nonprofits Are Messy. First, the board chair and CEO are crazy about the organization and use their passion to drive things forward. The board chair actually wants and understands the job. The chair and the CEO plan executive committee calls together, and they plan board meetings together, and they meet regularly. One of the, one of the biggest things that a board is responsible for is driving the organization forward, and that is a responsibility to the organization's mission. A mission is the reason why the organization exists and the need it's meeting in the community. A vision statement is where the organization sees itself if it succeeds at its mission. The vision statement provides the overall long-term thinking. The board responsibility to the mission includes defining the organization in both present and future, approve or affirm the mission, approve and affirm the key goals that result in mission accomplishment, and ensuring that operating plans and strategies lead to the attainment of goals. One of the largest ways that a board helps achieve its mission is by doing strategic planning. The board of directors should take an active role ensuring the mission and vision are on track through the creation of a strategic plan. A strategic plan is just the plan of action that an organization takes in a particular direction to fulfill the organization mission. The strategic planning process includes asking yourself, what do you want to be in the next year or 3 years from now? What do you want the organization to be and who will be involved? How will you get there? What do you need to get there? What barriers might you encounter and how will you deal with them? A nonprofit board of directors is responsible for the short and long range planning for the organization, as well as oversight of all departments and operations. The duties of nonprofit board members ensure that nonprofit continues to make progress towards its mission. Now let's hear from an expert. Okay, thank you for joining us today. I have Elizabeth Faber here, and we are going to be talking about governance and strategic planning. Um, Elizabeth, could you tell us a little bit about your work in the community and how you've had experience in this realm of board service?
Sure. Thanks, Jen. Thanks for inviting me to participate in this. Welcome to everyone. Like Jen said, my name is Elizabeth Faber, and I'm an independent consultant. I do have a background in public health, and I do work with organizations in our local area as well as across the state with their strategic planning and coalition building and vision and mission statement development. I also have served on boards in the area. I'm currently the vice president of the Healthy Harvest Board. And so I have experienced from both sides of the bench, so to speak.
Um, can you tell us a little bit about the relationship between the board chair and the chief executive and how important that is?
Oh, definitely. I think this is a great question and it's extremely important. The board isn't just there to be pulled in for 3 or 4 meetings a year. The board chair should be do regular check-ins and assist the chief executive with leadership and assessments of each other and of the board. And it just can increase that trust and to really help the organization meet its goals. Yeah, I think that it provides flexibility and resiliency when the board and the chief executive have that good open communication and trust.
Can you tell me in what role does the board have in the governance of an organization in terms of the organization's mission and vision?
Well, so I think sometimes there's confusion between governance and like daily management. And governance is really truly the board's role is to provide that overall direction in conjunction with the chief executive and staff. But they really do need to help provide that guidance to the staff. Many members on boards are there for a reason. They have specific background, they have interest and passion, and they can provide that well-rounded approach to the staff and to the chief executive to come up with the mission and vision and to give some good feedback. And you know, the board is really the stewards of the organization. It's an important role. And by being involved in this governance, it's just a hands-on way to really make your mark as a board member on an organization that will impact the organization and the community for quite some time.
So let's talk a little bit about strategic planning. What is the role of strategic planning in the governance and success of an organization? Not every nonprofit has one.
That's right. That's right. Strategic planning is kind of a scary word, and a lot of people don't really understand what that is. But it's just basically a way to figure out what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're going to get there. And it's just a plan, a roadmap. It should be easy to interpret and to understand. It can help your board and your community and stakeholders feel successful. They realize they are staying on track and they're focused. It makes sure that so many organizations don't have an overabundance of time or staff or resources or money. And so by having an effective strategic plan and by following that, the goal is to make the most effective use of those limited resources by making sure you're focusing in the correct area at the correct time and with the correct amount of resources per task. And it also can be a good team building activity for a board too.
I've seen that firsthand, and it was one of the things that board members really enjoyed the most because it helped them learn a lot about the organization, but it also helped them learn about their role in that organization's success. I think sometimes you get board members that might not have been onboarded properly, or they just come to meeting once a month and that's it. But the board members really are the stewards of the ship when it comes to organization success, and doing strategic planning really helps illuminate that fact for them. So I've seen it first.
Yeah, for sure.
So what are some of the mistakes people make with strategic planning, and how can board members avoid them?
So this is an important question as well. And I think strategic planning can be hard if you're trying to do too much in too short of a time. If you keep it too large or unwieldy, or trying to solve all the problems. So really it needs to be more focused and realistic. And also identifying, what is the organization's mission, their why, really figuring that out and figuring out what tasks are relevant in this organization can be impactful and relevant with. And a lot of times it could be created and it's just too big. It's not reader friendly. Or not readable. It's not user friendly. It's nice if it can just be a quick and easy thing to reference, or at least a version that's quick and easy. So that is, I think, a big mistake is when people put things down on paper that they know they're never going to do. And so I really encourage the clients and the boards that I work with to not put those sorts of items down, and to make sure that what you are committing to are realistic for the resources and the organization that you have. So I think those are some common mistakes.
Why do you think board might find strategic planning daunting?
Well, I think a lot of times maybe they've been involved in a process before that was daunting, that maybe hit some of those mistakes that we just talked about, that a plan that tried to do too much in too short of a time, or didn't do enough and wasn't specific enough. Maybe it was too vague. And so as a board member, you may have thought that it just wasn't even worth the time. Or maybe you were on a board where the executive director did it all and just shoved it down the board's throat, and you had no idea really what was going on. It was never referred to again. And so you really can say, as a board, some people may think, well, as a board member, my time is really limited. Shouldn't I be focusing on the details at hand? Without really understanding that without this strategic plan, it's really hard to guide those tasks and be successful with those tasks. So hopefully with more positive experiences, there'll be more boards that realize the importance of a good strategic plan and how important the process is, like we talked about before, with that team building and learning about the organization and getting that focus together.
So the audience for these videos is potential board members or people interested in learning about board service and may have never done it before. Mm-hmm. Do you have any advice or wisdom for people looking into what it means to be on a board and why they should pursue board service?
Yeah, I think that it's a great way to give back to your community. While it's not a direct service, like I talked about earlier, it's a way to have lasting impact on some organizations that may provide the direct service to the community. It's a great way to use your skills, your professional skills and other skills to help. And I think some suggestions that I may have is to obviously be to ask, what are the true time commitment? That is an important thing. What's the true time commitment? Maybe if you can talk to a past board member to get their experience, have a good conversation with the chief executive and ask what are my responsibilities and roles. And hopefully there is something developed for a board and a good onboarding process. But also just make sure that your passion aligns with the mission and vision of the organization.
Well, thank you so much for kind of telling us a little bit more about strategic planning and the board's role in that and in the governance of an organization. It's been really helpful. And if you have anything else you'd like to add, now's your time.
Well, thank you so much. I know this is one topic that's usually overlooked or groaned about when it's been 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. But as we have talked about in the past and experienced together with our work, it can be very positive experience and really good for staff members and good for the board. And I really hope that by participating in these events that we will have stronger boards and stronger nonprofits in our area. You guys are all doing great work. I'm very appreciative for anyone who's looking to assist and serve on boards. It's a really important role. So kudos for considering that. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jen.